Eye for action. We are about to launch Stingray.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
Half an hour?
Hi everyone, how you all doing? Everything you've just seen in the last video clip will all become clear later on. Oh, excuse me, in the video. I'd like to apologise as well for how long it's actually taken me to put this tag video together, but I'll give you an update on recent events, and this is the reason why it's took so long. As you know, that the last video we put up was the Grassington and Skipton, cracking couple of days. We really enjoyed that. So we came home about a week later. We went down to Anglesey. I'm doing a couple of time-lapse videos for future projects.
Nice couple of projects, aren't they?
So we were doing that, and while we were there, we get a phone call to say that my dad had been taken into hospital. He's broken his shoulder in 3 places. So obviously we cut the trip short, rushed home. My dad came out of hospital, so we were looking after him at home. So we were staying in his house, we were sleeping there and going to work from there. So while we were doing that, you believe it or not, I became ill and I ended up in hospital. So you can imagine what Sharon's going to the hospital, going to look to see after my dad, and we were just up the wall, or Sharon was, and I can't thank her enough. She's been an angel. Anyway, so while I'm in hospital, Sharon's looking after my dad, and my dad takes another turn for the worse, and he ends up back in hospital.
He had complications with the
the two of us are in hospital. He's on one ward, I'm on the other. Sharon's running between the two, and anyway, and so as I said, it was just chaotic for them couple of weeks. I'd just like to thank the hospital. I know RNHS gets a bit of a bad press, but the treatment that we received was exemplary. It was absolutely fantastic. The nurses, the doctors, the cleaners, anyone involved with the hospital, I take my hat off to them. I've got no complaints whatsoever. Nurses are angels on earth. Carrie, I know that's your profession, so big thumbs up.
Very swift,
Yeah,
weren't they?
they were very, very, very good. Anyway, I was watching YouTube videos on my phone while I was in there. That was keeping me occupied. But when I came out of hospital, I was in for about a week and a half, came out of hospital, went straight onto the computer, and you'll never guess what. You'll never guess what. Goes on the computer, and there's this sign saying, internet server, can't connect. So you can imagine what I was like. I'd just been tagged to make a video, and I just went absolutely nuts.
Dad, you've been told by the doctor to stay calm. Just calm yourself down, take the tablet.
Oh, bloody hell. What happened there? Where were we? Sorry about that, guys. I've had my tablet. Normal service has resumed. You know what it's like, us fellas. We handle pressure really well. Anyway, let's get back to the reason why we're here. Is your 5 favourite adventures and what you did before YouTube. Well, mine's really easy, because my love, my first love, and it still is, and it always has been, and probably always will be, is Sharon. No, well, not now, but it is Sharon, but is scuba diving. Since I was a young kid, I absolutely fascinated by water, shipwrecks and everything like that. Hence the Stingray at the beginning. It was, I used to watch all them programmes, loved them. Anyway, as you see from this photograph, this must have been taken in the late 60s. It's me as a child, and that was my first snorkel. Yeah, so I was just a water baby. Anyway, I used to watch all them programmes from the 60s, as I've said, Stingray, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. I was just fascinated. Aqua Marina, what a woman. Oh, that was my ideal woman. She could swim underwater, and the best thing about it, she couldn't talk. And then moving on, obviously as I got older, and then I left school and got a job, I spent all my wages, everything on diving equipment, as is now, and then everything, as you know, so expensive, especially when you're doing specialised stuff like that with diving equipment. It was just, the prices are just ridiculous. But as you can see from these photographs, the old wetsuits, well, that was an actually 4mm wetsuit. It's not even a proper diving suit, it's more of a water skiing suit, but that's all I could afford at the time. And we used to wear, as you can see, I've got anyone who's done a bit of diving from that era will know that the old Fenzies, what we used to call, come over your head, we used to call them the toilet seats. Yeah, so we dived all around the northwest, Anglesey. I just absolutely loved it. But work was a bit sporadic in them days, so I basically done what Austin done. I had 25 quid, jumped on a plane and went to Malta. Stayed out there for about 9 months, worked behind the bars, or a bar, and I absolutely loved it out there. That was an experience. I'll put a couple of photographs up and you can see. There's one of me standing by the Popeye village. It's where they made the film Popeye with Robin Williams, and after they'd made the film, they just left the set there, and it was just left. And when I was there, you could just walk around it, and there was nobody there. And as you can see, I'm leaning on a tombstone. Well, that's actually made out of fiberglass. I believe now that it's more of a bit of a theme park. You've got to get guided tours, but when I was there, you could just walk around it. So yeah, and I went over to Gozo. So we went around that island. I mean, when I say I've done a tour of the island's not that big, but it's an absolutely beautiful place. Yeah, so that was an experience. And then when I came back from Malta, obviously you do what you normally do, go back to work and then growing old, and then obviously eventually you get married and have kids and done all that. And then I got back into the diving. Obviously the equipment had advanced from when I first started doing the diving. It must have been the late 70s, early 80s. Well, I know it was when I left school, which was 1977, so I was straight into it then. But getting back to it, after I got married and the kids had grown up a bit and I could afford the diving gear again, I got back into it, and we were getting more adventurous. We were chartering boats and going out further out to sea. We used to go down to Anglesey and charter a boat from there, and we went. We used to a couple of times. We went all the way over to the Isle of Man. Halfway across, we'd do a dive and then dive around the Isle of Man. I'll put the photos up and you can see. But one of the main things I was interested in. I used to very interested in the First and Second World War, and during the First World War, there was the German High Fleet was anchored in Scapa Flow, which is on the Shetland Islands. It was 1919. It was obviously the end of the First World War, and they were surrounded by the British. Well, obviously the communications in them days are nothing compared to what we've got today. So the German High Commander of the German fleet was getting conflicting reports. So obviously he'd been saying that the war had ended and he didn't know who to believe. He thought it was a trick by the British, so he didn't know what to do because he thought that obviously the British were surrounded Scapa Flow. Scapa Flow was a natural harbour up in the Shetland. Anyway, so what the German commander decided to do was scuttle all these ships, and I believe there was something like 75 ships. That's a rough guess. So that was the end of the First World War. So then obviously between the two wars leading up to the Second World War, there was all these ships scuttled up in Scapa Flow. So obviously the after the First World War, raw materials were very scarce. So there was a big salvage operation up in Scapa Flow, and they salvaged most of the ships. But I believe there was something in the region around 10, 15, maybe around, say 10, 15 ships that are still up there. And I was really interested in them, always wanted to dive them, and I did. I managed to go up. I can't remember what the year was, but we went up and we dived the Crown Prince, the Margras, the Wilhelm, the Brummer, the Con. I'll put a name
Like
to the ships.
Dresden,
The Dresden. Yeah, they were fantastic dives. But the main dive for me was wasn't in the flow, in Scapa Flow. It was just outside Scapa Flow, and it was on a British ship, HMS Hampshire. Well, she went down, I think it was 1916 when she went down, and that was the ship with Lord Kitchener. He was the Secretary of State, I believe, at the time. I'm not sure, but he's the guy who points at you and said your country needs you. Well, he actually went down on that ship. It was reportedly sunk by a mine laid by a German submarine, and she lies in about 65 metres of water. So there was only about 12 survivors. I think there was 730 odd sailors perished on that ship. Really sad story. So obviously it's a war grave. So when you dive anything like that, you've got to give it the utmost respect. You just look, you don't touch. And that's exactly what we did. I believe now you need permission to dive anything like that. But at that time, we were fortunate enough to be able to dive it. And as I said, we did treat it with the utmost respect, and we didn't touch, we just looked. But what a fascinating story. As I said, Lord Kitchener went down, and apparently it was on its way to Russia. So there's a program. The program, you probably have all watched these programs, the Coast to Coast with Neil Oliver. When you can Google that, and he actually done a program about the Hampshire. There's a bit of conspiracy theories why it went down. And I think it was during the 80s that part of it got salvaged. They took the propeller and the prop shaft, which now lies in Lyoness. I'll put photographs up of that. It'll give you some idea of the scale of the ship. That's me and my mates standing next to the propeller. It'll give you some idea of the size of it. Huge ship, there's 6-inch guns. But what an absolutely fantastic dive.
That was one of your favourite adventures,
Yeah, I thought if I had to pick a dive, that would be the one I'd pick. Such a sad dive as well, with all them people perished. Unbelievable. But when we dived down, we got down to about 20 metres. The water was that clear, you could see it on the bottom. It was upside down, all the shells and the cordite, and it was all just lying over the seabed. Unbelievable sight. I'll never forget that. So that was me dive, and I'll put photographs up. Well, you'll have seen the photographs. I'll put them on. They've already got up. So yeah, as I said, I love the diving, and but with everything, it has to come to an end. The reason it came to an end for me was the older I got, for some unknown reason, I was getting more and more seasick, and it was getting severe. So, I mean, I know you could have carried on, well, I did actually carry on diving on inland waterways, canals and lakes, quarries and stuff, but it's not the same. It's
Well,
just,
it was so severe that you were actually sick up to like 3 days afterwards, wasn't it?
I could be, yeah,
So-
in certain instances, yeah.
Got that bad,
it
you
was
weren't
that
even
bad.
diving there.
Yeah, I got that bad. It got that bad that my mates, who I used to go diving with, who I'm still in touch with, a cracking bunch of fellas, they used to phone Sharon up and ask her what they wanted on my sandwiches, because I couldn't eat them. Anyway, so that was my diving days, which I really miss. But anything on the television to do with diving, shipwrecks, gold, bullion, and I'm there. I absolutely love it. So that would be that's 2 adventures.
That's
Malta,
Malta
diving.
scuba diving, yeah.
So we're on to the 3rd adventure.
That
Yeah.
come from sort of family camping and little walks, didn't it? Yeah,
No.
leading up to coast to
Yeah,
coast.
yeah, well, yeah. So we obviously, with the kids growing up and that, we done loads of camping, our holidays. We very rarely went abroad. We went abroad a few times, but we found that even when we went abroad, we preferred camping. We did buy a caravan at one stage, but we sold that. That didn't last very long. And we went back to the tent, and we camped all over the UK. As you say, I'll be putting these photographs underneath to show you little snippets. There won't be any of Sharon, as you know. I don't even think we've got any wedding photos. There's only me on the wedding photographs. Anyway, yeah. So we done the family camping, and then we were obviously doing site camping, family sites. But then we got a bit more adventurous, and we were camping on walkers' sites, and then eventually we got into the walking, and I think our first walk was Cat Bells. Yeah, we done Cat's Bells, which absolutely killed us, believe it or not. And then it was Ryan who introduced me to YouTube, because we got into the walk, and he was saying, have you seen these videos? And I think the first video I ever watched on wild camping would have been Terry Abraham. And we all know what's happened to Terry. He's gone on to do fantastic things. So but that's got to be 8-10 years ago. And I was just watching YouTube at that time, and then I thought, you know what, I could put one of our little trips up. So I started putting little videos up. I never used to talk in them. You're all probably wishing I didn't talk in them now. But I used to just put music to them, and obviously I think the first video I actually spoke in was the Coast to Coast video. And I think I'm going to have a little visitor in a minute. Who's that? Yeah, it's one of the cats.
She's what it is.
She's looking at me mascot here. Anyway, yeah, that was the introduction to the Coast to Coast. It was, I say I'd done a bit of camping, bit of wild camping. A bit of wild camping. A couple of ridge walks. I hadn't done nothing major, I wouldn't say. And then I watched videos on the Coast to Coast, and I just had to do it. So I packed my rucksack and off a set. I initially had planned to do it on my own, but on the second day I bumped into a guy from the States, Alan. Hi Alan, how you doing? If you're watching.
Hello.
And we just hit it off. We got on like a house on fire. We had a cracking trip. It took us 12 days. We finished the trip on the 12th of April, but we actually could have finished it on the 11th, because we took a day off halfway across, because the reason I wanted to finish on the 12th that was my mum's birthday. And another reason why I've done the walk, and I've never ever mentioned this to anybody before, even all the people I've met on YouTube, is I done it as a sponsor walk. I done it for the hospice. I can't remember how much I raised.
I can't remember now, it's quite a while ago.
I think it was over £1,000.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
possibly, just under.
Yeah.
For Willowbrook Hospice.
It was for
wasn't it?
Willowbrook Hospice, and that was my mum's birthday, the 12th of April. and that's why I wanted to finish it on the 12th. But Alan had other reasons for finishing on the 12th. He was booked into a youth hostel, and then he was carrying on to do the West Highland Way. And I do have one regret about that coast to coast trip. It was that I didn't carry on. I didn't carry on with Alan and do the coast to coast. Sorry, the West Highland Way. I'm gutted. I really am. I should have just took an extra week off work and went up to Scotland with Alan and done the West Island. As you know, I've attempted to do the West Island Way, my feet let me down. But the coast to coast was roughly 210 mile. It's actually mapped out at 196, but we done a few variations, and I think we worked out that we'd done 210. And as you can see from the video clips and footage of me and Alan, one of the parts of the coast is when you start off, you've got to dip your toe in the Irish Sea in St Bees, then walk over to Robin Hood's Bay and dip your toes in the sea there. And unfortunately for us, the tide was in when we got to Robin Hood's Bay. But you're also supposed to pick a pebble up or a shell and toss it into the sea, carry it from one side to the other. So Alan, he knew, as I said, he knew about dipping his toes, but I don't think he knew about picking the shell up. So as you can see from the clip, that's why we're throwing it together. He's sharing my shell that we threw in, and what a trip that was. And I'd love to do that again, and I'd highly recommend it if anyone wants to do it. If I actually did do it again, I'd take longer to absorb it, because some of the walks we done on certain days were like 20, 21 miles with a full pack. Believe me, it was knackering, but it was worth it. What a trip that was. So yeah, so that's number 4.
You're up to number 4 now, yeah.
So 5.
You're up to 4 now. That was number 3.
Oh, was it? So we talked about the family camping. So
Yeah, so it's a motorbike, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Well done, Alan. She saved the day again. It was Sharon who fixed the computer as well. Yeah.
Only watching YouTube videos, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, number 4, would be our trip around Scotland on the motorbike.
Yeah.
That was in 2012.
That was fantastic.
That was an absolute fantastic, and I've said that fantastic for everything, but you did say your best 5 adventures, so they're all fantastic. So we set off in 2012. We tried to stay off the motorway as much as possible, so we went up all the A and B roads from Liverpool right up to Scotland, through Jedburgh into Edinburgh, over the Forth Bridge, right up the east coast, Everton, Inverness.
I think it was about 1,500 miles.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. And we obviously up to the John O'Groats, then across, and then right down the west coast. What an absolute fantastic trip. Obviously you'll see all the little clips as I'm talking rubbish as usual. Anyway, yeah, so that was a fantastic trip. And trust me and Sharon to pick 2012, which just happened to be the wettest year on record. So it was, I think we had 1 day without rain.
And a few little gaps in between.
Yeah, it was, we absolutely got drenched. But we wouldn't have changed it for the world, would we, darling? And we had a fantastic trip. Yeah. So that's 4. So 5 would be what I'm doing now, YouTube. So YouTube has left. Oh, daddy long legs. YouTube has YouTube is obviously got me into the wild camping, and then wild camping has got me into the photography, and I absolutely love the photography. As you know, I've recently just bought a new camera and spent a few bob on that. That was the reason I sold my diving gear and I sold the motorbike. and it broke my heart to sell both
Both
of
of
them. I was a real wretch, honestly. But my new passion is photography. I'll put some little photos up of probably photographs that I've
I
never.
think this has got to
I've
be
never
4A, isn't it? Coming on to 5.
Oh yeah, we'll use this as 4A. We'll bend the rules a little bit. 4A. This is me photography. Yeah, so I'll say I'll put a few photographs up. These photographs will be personal photographs that I've been taking. I don't think I've ever used them on YouTube. If I have, I can't remember, but I've done only a couple. So yeah, I love photography and time-lapse photography. Yeah, I can't get enough of it. So that's 4A, which will lead us on to 5. So I've got a bit of news. And we are absolutely over the moon.
Probably the biggest adventure so far,
This is going to
isn't
be the biggest venture of all for us. We've just been told that we are going to become grandparents. And in the next 7 months, we'll have a little grandchild. So the camera will be getting well used.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. They're going to become grandparents at the right young age. I'm not going to tell you.
You're not going to tell them, man. You can tell them yours.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Scuba diving, Malta,
Coast to coast.
coast to coast, family camping, wild camping and photography.
Motorbike.
Yeah, and obviously grandparents. So we're going to be busy next year. So obviously that all that leads now is to tag. I think it's 5 people you've got to tag.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So I'm not going to tell you who they are. I'm just going to put the names up. I've met all these people who I'm going to tag, and I all know they've got interesting adventures and stories to tell. Whether they put a video up or that's entirely up to them. They don't have to. It's not. It's up to yourself whether you want to put a little video up. But we've had some fun looking through the old photographs.
Yeah.
And we've had a bit of a laugh, as you can see from the earlier footage.
Oh, you're going to put the outtakes
Oh
on?
yeah, they will be. You might just want to stay to the end and see a couple of outtakes. So that's it, guys. Yeah, 5 adventures, and the biggest adventure is yet to come. So we're looking forward to that. And as Austin said, and Alan Metalman and Chris and Leona, it's YouTube is opened up a new world for all of us. I love the comments and the crack. I absolutely love it. And I've met some really, really nice people, and I've no doubt I'll meet more. Even when you're just out on a walk, it's always nice to bump into people and say, "Oh, I'm just rattling on, aren't I?" Right. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, as always. I love all your videos. Keep them coming, and I'll speak to you soon. You gonna say to that, Alan?
Yeah.
Is that
Bye.
it? Just that, yeah. As you can see, Sharon loves to talk and be on YouTube. Ta-ra for now.
Ta-ra.
Thanks. Ta-ra, everyone.
Jed, you've been told not to get waked up. Wait.
Right, wait for me. Shall. Wait. Shut up, you silly cow. What? Wait for me. Wait for me to sit up and go, and then go, Jed, calm. You've been told by the doctor not to get worked up. Take your tablet. Right.
Okay.
Have you switched it on?
Yeah. Wait, you've been told by the doctor to calm down.